So hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and as promised from my MOA Concert Girls first drive impressions of the Suzuki Celerio AGS, I would like to thank these folks at Suzuki, BGC and Auto Hub Group and Sir FG for making this review possible. So finally I got my hands to do a full review on this, and my impressions on the Celerio, the looks and everything, it's as cute as ever, and it looks way better than the previous generation. I also have a funny story with that. Also at front here, as you can see, you have now big bulbous headlights here. I love the new design as well of this. You get black wheels all around and then ground clearance. Surprisingly, I think this is also one of the tallest in its class. It's 170 millimeters. So going over potholes, humps, and I assume floods, you will have no issue with this Suzuki Celerio. That's only 10 millimeters less than the Suzuki Espresso. And then continuing here at the front, there's a nice chrome strip here on the grille. And then the rest of it's blacked out. And surprisingly, at this price point, you get fog lamps as well in the manual variant. There are only two variants of this, by the way. This AGS, the one with a single clutch transmission, and a manual transmission. This gray color is really good, but the one in the MOA Concert Grounds, the red one, is probably the best color for me. So here at the rear of the all-new Suzuki Celerio, like I said, in front, better than the previous generation. You also have nice big teardrop headlights here, and I like there's no cladding on this whatsoever. Also, this is a weird thing on how to open the boot. Okay, this is locked, right? I unlock the car, as you can see, but it's not yet open. You have to press unlock again to open the boot. So open the boot up. Total space here is 295 liters, so that's pretty decent for its class. And surprisingly, there's no load lip here whatsoever. It's just the body itself. And as you can see, putting stuff in here might be a little bit of an issue because it is quite tall. Also, you have a space saver donut type tire underneath. And there's no official figures with the seats down, but of course it doubles, so you have a lot of space now with this Suzuki Celerio. And also I love the tonneau cover. It's not like that flimsy cheap type material. The tonneau of this is really thick. So that's about it here in the exterior. And the boot of the all new Suzuki Celerio, I'll show you the interior. So this is the interior of the all new Suzuki Celerio. The door sounds really good. I know that's way better than the previous generation. Also, all Celerios don't have a push start button. So let's start it up. It's quite hot. And what I like with this Celerio, yeah, it's only a small cabin, but with most of the hatchbacks that I've driven on my channel, this has a really good air conditioning system. It is really cold here. I was just like, what, number 2 on the aircon, and it's really cold already. The interior here, it's as basic as you can get, but I would say it is still not too bad. Although one funky design and cost-saving measures done by Suzuki. I was looking for the window switches here in the door cards. There's no buttons here whatsoever apart from your door locks. That is it. And there's a small cubby space and a bottle holder in each side of the door. My water jug just fits. And then here on the left side, I like these air conditioning vents. They're airplane style. And then below that, you have 2 blank buttons only, and your switches for your side mirrors, auto start stop button, electronic stability control, and parking sensor button. And then here the steering wheel, I love this material. It's polyurethane, but it is nice to the touch. It's very squishy. And then basic setup, you have an analog speedometer, but I like on the right side, it's your monochromatic display for your tachometer, and then for checking out your fuel economy. Going back to the steering wheel, as basic as you can get again. No buttons on the right side, and then you have buttons here on the left side for your infotainment system. And to my surprise, the infotainment system, I usually see the brand of the car on the infotainment, but it's not. This one's made by Sony. And I already tested out the speakers. I love the speakers. Probably also one of the best in class, hence Sony. The thing is though, the infotainment system, I mean, it is small, but it does the job still. Sadly, this 6.2-inch infotainment system does not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but it is really crisp enough like most of the Sony products as I tried. But at least there's Bluetooth mirroring. It actually says your smartphone mirroring. And then the buttons are really small, really flimsy. Yeah, it does feel like a PSP. And then you have a USB port, 1 aux cord. So below the infotainment system, this is where you control for locking the doors, opening the windows, hazard button, and then locking the windows. So that's a cost-saving measure done by Suzuki. But it's a funky design for me. I like it. And then yeah, materials here on the dashboard. It's plastic, but it's forgivable at this price point. Glove box, okay, that's really big. And then below the infotainment system and the switches, you have your climate control functions. And further down below, you have a blank space here, a 12-volt socket, and then a cubby space that you can put your phone there, but it doesn't fit my phone. And then you have 2 more cup holders. Sadly, my water jug doesn't fit. However, if you have a thin one, it will definitely fit, and it won't disrupt in the way of the climate control functions, unlike some of the Honda, like the Honda City there, as I tried. And here in the gear lever, it's gloss black. It's already scratched a lot, as you can see, but I'll get to this transmission later on. Apologies for my previous reviews with the Peugeot 508 and the Abarth 595. An automated manual transmission is the same as a single clutch. I thought those were 2 different types of transmissions, but they're technically the same. So this transmission, as dubbed by Suzuki, this is an auto gear shift. It's kind of like a manual transmission, but it's operated by a computer instead. As you can see, there's even the clutch disc in front of the engine. I'll get to the engine just in a bit. So driving this, you will have to think it's like a manual transmission car. So if you want to know more about a single clutch transmission, the first time I tried it out was with the 2014 Peugeot 508. Link of that will be in the description down below. Driving it during my first drive impressions in the MOA concert grounds, I really like it, how it drives in the city, and knowing why Suzuki went with this single clutch transmission instead of the previous generation's 4-speed automatic. To be honest, with our experience with my dad, the 4-speed automatic was a little bit sluggish. To be honest, he didn't like that. But if he was still here today, I think he would love this automated manual transmission. It is really fun to use. So also you have a manual handbrake here, fabric seats for both variants, by the way. Above here you have lights, and then visors. There's a ticket clip with a vanity mirror at least. Okay, on the right side, the passenger side, there's no ticket clip, but you still have a mirror. They're really small, they're really flimsy, they don't extend, but it's fine. But okay, this is my driving position, by the way. It doesn't extend all the way here, so that could be a little bit of an issue. So that's about here in front of the Suzuki Celerio. Oh yeah, by the way, look at the opening of these doors. They almost open at a 90-degree angle. Bigger people can get in here easy. That also goes in the back seats. So here in the rear of the Suzuki Celerio, that sounds still pretty good. It's as basic as you can get. Like in front, you have 2 smaller cubby spaces now and a bottle holder in each side of the door. My water jug still fits at least. And then like in front, plastic here and there, no buttons. You only get a seat pocket on the passenger side. But sitting here in the rear, set up. Actually, I'm really happy to sit here. This is the big surprise for me. Feet room, knee room, and headroom is really good. So that's also improved from the previous generation. And then if I sit here in the middle, also a very quirky design. Your window switches are here in the middle. If you want to put this window down, you have to reach all the way there. So I find the ergonomics of this Suzuki Celerio a little bit weird, but at least there still is. So if I sit here in the middle, it's a lot softer than the left or right side of the seats. I actually prefer to sit here in the middle, but as you can see, you can fit 3 or even 4 of me if you're skinny like me. And the transmission tunnel, it is pretty big, but it's not as wide. You can just simply put your feet up. And headroom now, okay, it's not that eaten up, unlike some of the cars I reviewed. If you sit here in the middle, it will eat up a lot of headspace. Not this Suzuki Celerio. So what else? Also, you get 2 fixed anchor points on each side. And also to take note, putting the seats down earlier when I was showing you guys the boot space. So if you put the seat back up, it will, there's a seat belt holder here, by the way. Put the seat back up to its usual position, it will eat the seat belts. But I noticed, since these are fabric seats, you can just simply slide them out. At least it still won't get eaten, unlike some of the cars I've tried out. So that's about here in the rear of the Suzuki Celerio. This is a surprise. It is really spacious and way better than before. So with that, I'll show you the party piece of this Celerio, its engine. So this is the engine of the Suzuki Celerio. It's a 1-liter 3-cylinder naturally aspirated engine that produces 67 horsepower and 89 Newton meters of torque. And this variant, being the auto gear shift or AGS, this one is mated to a 5-speed automated manual transmission. Like I said earlier, it's a manual transmission operated by a computer. As you can see, there is the clutch, so it's like your conventional manual transmission. Oh, if you just heard that, you can hear that the transmission was priming itself up since I just started this engine again. So this is the computer that controls the clutch. Okay, that's the first time I saw one of these. That's actually really cool. And as you can see, being a 3-cylinder engine, it shudders a lot. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera. As you can see, it's shredding a lot up and down. But having driven this the first time in MOA concert grounds, I had no issue with the shuddering. So actually, the NVH of this is pretty stellar. And with that, let's go for a drive. So driving the all-new Celerio. So I remembered being an automated manual transmission, you have to put it to neutral if you're going to a stop, or otherwise if you leave it in D, you'll burn up the clutch. That's a characteristic with automated manual transmissions. And then first impressions, like before, the steering is freaking light. And I'll just floor it. I'm just in automatic mode. In automatic mode, there's quite a delay. It tends to hunt for the gears. That's what I noticed. I'm already in what? 4th gear. I'm just doing 50 kilometers per hour. But the advantage of this AGS, as Suzuki dubbed it, it is pretty fuel efficient. I'll give the figure just a little bit later. And actually, just in automatic mode, you can feel it shifting down. And then U-turn test, and the auto start stop was working. It kind of interfered just a little bit, but at least it's not jerky as like some of the cars that I've tried that has auto start stop feature. And yeah, just a little bit jerky. So you do have to act like you're driving a manual transmission car. And look, I'm flowing it now. Not bad. Okay, being a 3-cylinder engine, it does sound good, at least. So let's try manual mode. Like before, as I said in my first drive impressions, to change up a gear, it's pull, and then to change down, it is push. So it's kind of like a race car type of thing. Yeah, that's the thing with automated manual transmission. Since I've driven one already, it is so in city. It's perfect for this car, but like the Porsche that I've tried few months ago, it is quite sluggish if you're just in automatic mode. So let's try manual mode. Oh, that's more like it. And you can feel you're lurching forwards and backwards. Yeah, that's another characteristic with automated manual transmission or single clutch transmissions. You feel you're lurching forward. It's no Lamborghini Aventador, but for me, single clutches are pretty fun to use. So let's just leave it in automatic for now. And then body lean, not too much, but handling is really tight. I love this handling. And also the steering feel, it's not as light as you think, but there's still good feedback with this. And then going over humps and bumps, this Celerio soaks up the bumps pretty well. I mean, you can feel it's just a little bit firm, but it's no means an uncomfortable car. I mean, here like a hump, I'm still comfortable, to say the least. There, look, kickdown is pretty slow, just being honest. It's not great, but at least there's manual mode. There, if you can see me, I'm changing up and down. I'm slowly lurching forward. But of course, if this is gonna be your first car, I highly recommend this Celerio, and it's also probably one of the most fuel efficient in its class. That's why Suzuki are marketing this. As you can see, earlier this year, there was a big test drive event with the Celerio, and who gets the best fuel economy figure. But all of them were fuel efficient. That was the surprise. Despite all of them using this variant, the AGS, it was still fuel efficient. Yeah, for me personally, just leave it in manual, you'll be fine. It responds way better in traffic as well. And this is the big surprise now. Oh, it's off. The auto start stop feature is on now. So that's also what's cool with this Celerio. Despite its price point, you have an auto start stop feature. And here's the big surprise. In my MOA concert grounds test drive, the first time I used it, since it was being used the whole day, it averaged 7.4 kilometers per liter. But here right now in BGC, this is pretty impressive. I've been averaging 9.6 kilometers per liter. So this is what I want to compare now, this AGS versus the manual. Okay, the power is not too bad. I know it only has 67 horsepower, but this car only weighs what, like 830 kilograms, and if you get the manual, it's even a further 807 kilograms. So yeah, it's pretty fun to turn around in the city, I must say. Coming from a stop, it is pretty peppy. It's just that speeds, you notice that transmission is not that responsive. And then visibility, okay, it's pretty good as well. The C-pillar is not that big as well. I found out this auto start stop feature was a little bit intrusive at first, because I noticed it was activated earlier. I was still in drive, then it will suddenly shift to neutral, then the engine will die. Okay, that's something to take note of. That's why I found it a little bit invasive, the system. But it's still, you'll get used to it pretty quick if you own this Celerio. For me, of course, it's my first time driving this fully. I tend to notice this stuff. And yes, at a stop, I do notice the shudder now of the 3-cylinder engine. But at speeds like about 40-50 kilometers per hour, it won't be present anymore. It's just at a stop that I tend to notice the shudder. So here now, manual mode. Yeah, so this is the other characteristic with automated manual transmission. You have to lift up while changing up and down again ever so slightly. Partial throttle, I'll change to second. There, it won't lurch. But if I floor it, wait, there, first gear, totally floor it, there, you'll lurch forward. So I do like this AGS system of the Suzuki. I mean, I can't wait to try the manual, so let's see how that performs against this AGS. But I highly recommend this Suzuki Celerio because, of course, I'm still averaging 9.6 kilometers per liter. This is its trump card, the fuel efficiency. So that concludes my review of the all-new Suzuki Celerio. I promise the manual transmission review will come very soon. So I would like to thank Suzuki BGC, Auto Hub Group, Sir FJ, and Miss Mel for allowing me to review this AGS variant of the Suzuki Celerio. So hope you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you with more Suzuki reviews as well. Bye bye.